Hello, hello. So just a quick shout out, I guess, or let you guys know what's going on tonight. Every once in a while, I do something called a limited live stream where I'm not doing free readings or giveaways. It's just a very donations only based live stream. I usually get through it pretty quickly, which typically means I'm not allowing skips or anything like that on days like today. So if you are new here, but you have had like a free reading from me before and you're wondering what's going on, that's typically what happens during these live streams. I go live about 4 or 5 times a week, and at least one of those times is going to be a limited live stream. It's just me trying to come in and offer something to you guys, even though I can't stay around or stick around for a long time, especially because I'm probably going to be taking Monday and Tuesday off. And this week I wasn't on very much for other reasons. So that is why I'm offering this for people who usually will message me and say, "Hey, are you going on tonight?" Things like that. This is where I could find a way to fit into my schedule, which means that I'm probably only going to be on till about 12 a.m. my time, which is in about an hour. So we're not doing free reads tonight. We are just doing donations only. I did get a pre-order, and that was from James. So James knows that I'm on here, and as soon as he can hop on, I can go ahead and get his reading done. Let me let him know that we're ready for his questions. If anyone has any questions about this, just let me know. I also want to throw out there that I would love for you guys to follow me on Instagram. I am trying to build that up a little bit more. I'm not really super interested or like striving to get more followers, but I do know that I have a huge following over here on YouTube, and I would love to carry you guys over there, if nothing else, than to have a way to communicate with me and interact with me through my stories. Hey, James. Okay, so we're going to start with your first one now. James, I have your second question. All right, love option 2. Hey, Rising, thanks so much. You'll be after James, okay? Of course, of course. My gosh, hi. I'm well, Lorraine. How are you? All right. a clarifying card. Because this is interesting. Hey Priscilla, oh my gosh, people are coming in I haven't seen in so long. How is everyone today? Doing good. Glad to catch you on the live on a time off work. Hey, so happy to have you here. Wow, thank you so much. All right, guys. So depending on who came in first, we'll determine if it's Priscilla first or Lorraine. But right now, the order, as far as I know, is James and then Rising and then Priscilla. And then I think I speak only after that. So, James, the main theme of this reading right now is stability. So, I have the Emperor, and then I actually pulled a new deck and got the Emperor again as a clarifying card. So, what that says to me is that she is starting to feel more comfortable in this connection with you. She's starting to feel more stable. I would say that her overthinking has simmered down some, and I think that she's really just trying to allow herself to relax into this connection. I feel like, um, they talk about fight or flight, and I feel like her flight was very much activated, and I feel like now is more like a fight type of vibe. Like I think that she's leaning more in the direction of I want to stay put and really kind of see this through. So I feel like for you, that should feel really nice to know that she doesn't plan on going anywhere. And she is feeling more comfortable and grounded in this relationship. Let's see. So we have the Two of Pentacles clarifying the Two of Wands, which really doesn't clarify anything for me, to be honest. But under her thoughts, we have Two of Wands. And also like Two of Pentacles. What's this decision about? She has a choice here. What's this decision about? So I think that the way that you guys are getting on with each other, I think that she wants that to improve. I think she wants to be more understood. And I know that you do a really good job at like trying to make that happen. I feel like there's maybe more because I have the Five of Wands here. So like maybe there's more misunderstandings than she would like. Like I'm feeling as though she's wanting um an easier, healthier, more understood, like consistently like nice relationship with you. I just feel like yeah, growing pains. I brought that up last night and bringing it up again. I feel like it's like she's just ready for that clear communication with you. And I'm getting that too with the Ace of Swords as well. Um, you bring a lot to the table, James, and I feel like she sees your appeal and your value in her life. And I think that she likes so much of who you are. I think that she's just hoping that the way in which you guys, it's almost like personalities clashing sometimes. It's not, no one's wrong, no one's right. It's just like you guys are very different people. And so I think she's hoping that there's some type of light at the end of this tunnel that would indicate to her that it's just a matter of making some adjustments and trying to, but I don't want to like make this reading too heavy either with that because I don't necessarily feel like this is like a dark cloud that hangs over your relationship. She more than anything feels very positive, but there are like little things that happen that I think she's hoping that can be corrected I guess, for lack of a better word. But you guys are getting there. You guys are working towards it. It's progress, and it has nothing to do with incompatibility at all. Like, I feel like you guys, it's almost like you guys have two ways to get somewhere, and you guys a lot of the times are saying the same things, but the result is the same. It's just you have to get through the crap to get there. So, a metaphor that I feel like Spirit is giving me is that, there's multiple ways to add something together. You know what I'm saying? Like, or for instance, new math versus old math. Like when people are doing, I think it's like multiplication. There's like an old school way to do multiplication, and then there's like a new age way that they're teaching kids to do math. And it's like neither of them are wrong. Both lead you to the same place. It's just you guys do it differently and you're thinking about it differently. But you both are well intentioned and meaning the same thing and you want the same thing in the end. The result is the same. But you guys just struggle like understanding that y'all are agreeing that you're saying the same thing. Does that make sense? I hope so. Hey SP, thank you so much. I'll add you guys to the list. Give me a second to update it. I promise I will do that after this little bit of a reading. Let's see. So intentions for her is to just work through some fears that she has. I think that she really wants to be able to see this through with you. She wants to, again, I can only get such new information every once in a while because we do these so often. But it's bringing me back to when I said she wants more time to process. She wants more time to think. She wants more time to spend with you. And she wants to take the pressure off. It's not that she's not ever going to get there. It's just she hasn't quite gotten there yet. And something tells me that she likes when her head and her heart are balanced. Sometimes people think with their gut, and it's like, as soon as I know, I know. But she likes to think through it like logically first. And if it makes sense to her logically, then she goes with me, but what am I feeling? And then when those two things align, that's very much who she is. So I think that things just aren't quite balanced just yet, and it's just gonna take her longer to get there. I have the Eight of Pentacles as the underlying energy. So that feels really good, especially because we like to see when someone else is wanting to continue to put effort and energy into us, that's a good feeling. So she's like, I want to keep trying. I want to keep seeing if we can kind of sort this out or work this out and get ourselves to an even better place than we are now. So without further ado, let me update the donation list so everyone knows where they are. I'm only going to be on for about an hour, so no skips tonight. I will try to get to everyone as quickly as I can. And honestly, I might have to go ahead and close the list now just to hold up my end of the bargain. Let me just see where we're at. You guys are so awesome. I just like love it. I've got some people in here I haven't seen in a while, and I just appreciate you guys so much. All right, so James, Rising, Priscilla, I Speak My Truth, and SB. So I think what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to go ahead and close the list. And I am going to allow those who donated to add on to the reading if they want to. But anyone else that comes in, my list is closed. Hopefully that's fair. That way you guys can feel like you can add on if you want to. Or like get clarification on an additional question. But anyone new, I'm just going to go ahead and close the list. outside of that. So you guys are like VIP tonight, okay? All right, so let me repin this comment just so that way no one questions anything. Did anyone like celebrate with Mexican food or anything like that today? I know I didn't, and I should have. Please tell me someone had margaritas and chips and queso for me. James, I am shuffling for your second question. I don't know if you're still in here or if you're in and out, but I'm working on your second question now. It's 11:11. First card out, James, and I shuffle a couple of times so we can count on this. We have the Eight of Pentacles. So Eight of Pentacles is here as the first card out. That's kind of how I ended your last reading. So it's kind of nice going in with this because basically what it's saying is I love our connection and I'm excited to see where this is going. I like how it's going. I'm excited to see where it goes from here. And this is something that I would love to put more time and energy into with you because at the end of the day, I would really love for this to work out and I would really love to see like what the future holds for our connection. My goal, I feel like I'm channeling her right now. She's saying like my goal is to have something that I'm proud of when it comes to a relationship. I want to feel like the person that I'm with shines on their own and I don't have to constantly defend the relationship. It's just people tell me I look happier, people tell me that we're a great fit, and I really want a relationship I can be proud of because I don't really feel like I've ever gotten to that point, and that's something that I really want. And because you're such a quality person and like I feel like you're almost like my best friend too, I feel like we can really have something special. Look, James, you're getting a channeling that costs $35 and I'm like channeling, but I can't help myself. It's just happening. So she's like, I just really want to see what can come of this, and I'm looking forward to putting more energy into this connection if you are. And from me, Luna speaking, I feel like she just sees what a quality person that you are, how you add to her life, and she's saying that she thinks that she could be proud of a relationship with you. She could be proud of it. And I think that's really important to her. Also feels like culmination is very important. So she wants things to kind of naturally unfold. She doesn't want to rush something. You can't rush a flower to bloom. You can't rush a season. So I feel like she's saying that the enjoyment will come, the pleasure will come, like the stability will come, and we can't rush these things. It's not natural to do that. And I feel like she's saying, but the payoff will be incredible if we really take our time with this. So that's like a major factor for her. She's charging forward. I'm getting that message again, James, that she's got her blinders on. She's not really distracted by any other people that could possibly be pursuing her. She is putting focus on this with you and you only. So there is, again, that silent devotion that I had mentioned in the past between the two of you. So really quickly, we have Eight of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles. We also have the Chariot, and we also have the 10 of Cups. And we have, well, the Four of Cups is here with the Chariot. So that's kind of like what I was saying, is that if any other offers are coming her way, she's not really like interested. And then we also have the Two of Wands coming through again. I feel like she's here with the Chariot saying like, I'm here to push through. However that resonates. She's just like, let's keep going. Let's just keep going and see what happens. So the 10 of Pentacles here with the 10 of Cups to me feels like she has this belief or faith or hope. Maybe it's just a gut feeling that you guys will eventually align. You guys will eventually figure out it all. You know what I mean? Like the way in which you get along with each other, your intimacy, your forms of communication, your friendship, your whatever, like all the things that are really good ingredients for a relationship. She's like, oh, it's gonna come together in the end. Everything good comes to those who wait. Another metaphor of like the best brisket is the ones that you don't rush, like the best stew is the ones that you let really sit there and simmer. So I feel like she's saying we could have such a quality relationship if we don't skip any steps. So that's really important to her. But she really, as far as like her feelings for you and the relationship, well, let me pull a card as far as like her energy from last night, and then we'll finish out your reading. But that's how she's feeling towards you in the relationship. How's she feeling after last night? We have the Four of Swords. This does talk about someone being a little bit more quiet than usual, but Queen of Cups is here, indicating that there's feelings for you. She's holding her feelings for you in her hand or in her heart. So it's like it's still there. It's still there. All right, James. So what is your last question? And sorry if I'm out of breath, guys. I'm like sitting in these really uncomfortable positions, and I'm like trying to switch over while I'm talking to you. So that's awkward. I feel like I'm like out of breath like crazy, and I've been working out the last 6 weeks. I'm like, why the hell am I out of breath? Rising, I think you usually leave your questions with me, so I'm going to just double check that. Okay, I got you, Rising. Priscilla, if you know what your questions are and you want to post those in advance, feel free. Same with you, I speak. If you guys don't want to post in advance, it is okay. Just make sure that you're ready when I'm ready. All right, so we're just waiting for James to post this last question, and then we'll be moving on to Rising Storm. You sent me an email. Oh, I see. I see, Priscilla. You said you sent an email regarding the question on Yahoo. Okay, perfect. So Priscilla, when I get to you, which will be fairly soon, I will read it and then we can go from there. So, James, we seem to have a good time, but I was really thrown off by her not telling me goodbye. Does she only want friendship without the romance? Okay, let's see. You're welcome, Priscilla. All right. Does Patty only want romance? Or does Patty only want friendship? Patty only want friendship. Well, I'm not getting friendship cards, so I don't think that that was the case. So I'm looking into um, why she didn't hug you, because I am getting a no as far as friendship. Five of Cups is here as well. Um, it's just interesting to me. All right, so I do have the Seven of Wands in reverse, which unless they come out in reversals, I typically just read them upright. Um, but I don't like mix my deck or anything like that to include them both. So when a reversal comes out, it does make me feel like that's a message that I need to tap into. Um, so the Seven of Wands in reverse can talk about feeling like she's not wanting to necessarily give in to you right away. The Seven of Wands talks about like not wanting to, I mean, this is gonna sound really bad, but I'm not trying to make it sound bad because it's not. But it's like I don't know what other words to say to explain this. So stay with me here. I feel like she's not trying to give in to what you want. I feel like she's probably knows that you're wanting hugs and you're wanting affection from her, and she might be just really trying to do what feels right to her in the moment. And maybe sometimes she can work from a place of spite, but it's because she feels like she's setting a boundary. Whereas I feel like if she, like, for example, if she didn't want to like hug you in that moment, I feel like she would just be doing it for your benefit. And that's not fair to her. So she's like, I just didn't feel like it. I just didn't feel like it. And maybe sometimes, James, she can feel like if she senses that you want something from her, but she's not in that place, it makes her not want to do it more. It's almost like said this before, but it feels like you have like a father-daughter relationship with her, and not to be like weird or anything, because I know this is a romantic relationship, but the dynamic is like a daughter rebelling or not wanting to do something just because, you're like expecting it or something. There's like some type of rebellion going on. Um, and I feel like she wants, and the reason why this isn't bad, because I know it sounds kind of bad, but the reason why they're telling me that she is doing this is because she wants to be excited to give you a hug, not because you expect it or you assume it's going to happen. She wants to have that feeling of yearning to give you a hug, of love and desire and wanting to give you that affection. But when she consumes herself in her head with like what you expect from her, what you want from her, it kind of dilutes how she's feeling in that moment. And she's saying that she wants to be the one that is excited and wants to run up to you and wrap her arms around you and give you hugs. She doesn't want to do it out of expectation or because it's something that you've done before. She definitely has a very like rebellious nature or energy, and I feel like that's what's going on here. So don't take it personally as like, oh, this means that she just wants friendship with me now, because I don't think it's like that. I think that she's just wants to feel those feelings. She doesn't want to feel like an expectations being put on her just because it's something that she's done before. So my advice here would be, if you see her again, don't go for a hug. Go for a high five. Be like, yeah, like I'll see you later, girl. Like, I don't know, like just not because you want to give her the wrong message, but because you want her to know that you're not setting an expectation for any kind of physical affection from her. I don't know why she's like this. I can't really speak to the history of who she is and why this is important to her, but it seems to me that she's just not trying to give in to something just because you want it from her or you would expect it to happen. I think that she wants to feel those feelings. And so, yeah, now I'm talking in circles. That's kind of what it is a little bit. Um, and I think sometimes she doesn't like to feel vulnerable. I think sometimes she likes to just kind of hold her ground and just do what I guess feels right to her. So I don't really know if that's answering your question. I feel like I'm hitting something there. Um, and to you, it may seem like, well, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? Like a hug is a hug. It's not a big deal. And that's why I want to be clear. This isn't about her trying to give you friendship because you hug your friends. Everyone hugs their friends. Like if she normally kisses you goodbye and give you a handshake, then I'd be like, okay, something's up there. But people hug their loved ones, people hug their partners, people hug their friends. So I don't think that by her not hugging you, she's trying to send you a message that she's friend zoned you. I don't think it's like that. I think it's something deeper, it's something else that's going on with her internally. But just to round out your reading, we're going to ask specifically about the romance. And then we're going to move on to rising. Rising, if you're here, feel free to check in with me because we'll be getting ready to do yours in just a second. All right, James. Is Patty interested in romance with James? Is Patty interested in romance with James? Is she friend zoning him? Okay, so she is interested in romance with you, James, but she's just cautious. That's all. She's just I don't know. I don't know what's going on with her, but she's just kind of like, this is something that I think I want sometimes, and then sometimes I'm not sure. I need more time to figure it out. I don't feel like she's friend zoning you, but I do think that friendship is important to her. She doesn't feel like a successful relationship can happen without friendship, and she wants to start from the ground up. So I wouldn't say she's friend zoning you right now. I would say she is open to romance with you, and that's kind of how I would word it. James, let me know if you have any follow up to that while I shuffle for Rising Storm. Okay, that's it. Yay. Hey, girl, hey. All right. So the Three of Swords did try to come through. It did not come out of the deck. So whenever that happens, I let you know that it's something that I acknowledged, but it's not like the forefront energy. It's just kind of something that's kind of there. So when it comes to feelings for you, and then the Three of Swords is like this feels like this sadness. It feels because like Three of Swords, they talk about being like a painstaking heartbreak, and I don't think that's the case. But I do feel like, of course, Rising, I do feel like there's some type of like sadness or grief of a relationship that doesn't exist that's kind of surrounding you guys right now. I have the Ten of Pentacles here. So whenever I see this card, it's like he's saying, I'm setting us up for success. I'm trying to set up my life right now for something that we can potentially, to, for like the best circumstances for us to have a good connection in the future. So, as you know, Rising Ten of Pentacles is like that card where everything we do now, it matters for our future. Every decision we make, every plan, every purchase, everything, it sets us up for success in the future. That's why, it's a very traditional thought process that we work 40 hours a week, we make a paycheck, we put money towards our IRA. So that way we have a retirement fund, we have Social Security later on down the line. We have like whatever it is we need, so that way we can eventually stop working and live out the rest of our life without any kind of like stress or pressure. People buy houses so that way they have that equity built up, so that way they can make profits off of their house. It's in some circumstances better than renting because they're saying that you're actually putting it towards yourself. That way when you sell the house, you have a bigger payout. Maybe people are saying, I really would like a part-time job right now, but I'm going to just pressure myself into working 40 hours so that way later on I can get what I want sooner. And then the last example is maybe you want to go on a vacation and you like to eat out a couple of times a week, but you really want to pay on your credit card. So you say, I'm not going to go on vacation this year. I'm going to make the sacrifice to not go on vacation and not eat out as much. That way I can get myself to my goal by the end of the year or whatever. Like, these are the examples that are coming to mind because that's the energy of the Ten of Pentacles. And to me, it seems like he's saying the decisions I'm making right now are going to impact my relationship with her. And it's important to me that I'm making the right decisions so that there is a bigger payout later. I do feel like he's sad that he's not talking to you. I feel like he's sad that you guys haven't had this start. And I think the thing that he mostly regrets, Four of Cups, is the fact that it took him this long to even get to this point. And he's saying, if I had realized that any sooner, if I had realized this a year ago, even, he's saying, we would probably be in a very different place. But it took me so long to get here. And while I don't necessarily regret going through these motions, I do regret how long it took me to get here. And I feel like for him, he's just saying, I'm trying, I'm setting us up, I'm trying to do the right thing, I'm trying to make sure everyone is good, everyone is satisfied, that I'm, fostering the right relationships with people, that I'm figuring myself out. And something else that's coming through right now is like his finances are like a big thing that kind of surrounds your connection. And so maybe he's thinking to himself before, maybe he was getting money from a friend or this other person that we talk about a lot. And he's saying, well, now that I'm not able to get the money from that person because I don't want that hanging over my head, now I have to figure out how I'm going to get that money. And I need to like work another job, or I need to like get a better paying full time or whatever. Like, there's something here about money, and there's something here about him feeling like now that he's making these decisions and these shifts, now there's other, I guess, he just has to allocate properly. Like, he's just saying, now that I'm not getting it from here, now I have to get it from somewhere else, and I have to figure that shit out. So he has a lot of pressures on himself, and you've been mad at him. We often forget too, like, how much hardships can affect us. When people are stressed about money, it is like the most all-consuming thing that someone can experience, because they think about it all day, every day. How am I going to do this? How am I going to get here? How am I going to pay what I need to pay? We all get very, very stressed out if we're ever in this circumstance. And it is all consuming. We can't think about anything. We can't think about what we're going to eat. We can't think about like having a relationship with someone. And the most stressful parts of my life have been surrounding money. So, and it is hard. It's hard to see family and hang out with friends. And like, sometimes you and your partner, for example, might be working opposite schedules because you're just worried about when can you make the most money, and then you're not spending as much time together. And so like this stress can overwhelm and it can interfere. And so the reason why I'm bringing this up, I feel, is because he is having money problems right now. Not something that he can't resolve, not something he can't fix, but it is consuming his day to day. And so you are there Okay, Rising, you are there for him in his mind, but this other thing that's causing an issue for him is taking up the majority of his day and energy and all of that. Um, but he's saying this is to set us up for better success. And the only reason that I regret right now, the only thing I regret is the fact that it took me this long to get here. Because if I had realized what I was involving myself in a long time ago, then I would be in a much better place now. You live, you learn. But you're there for him. It's just, it's not right now like the top of his mind just because he's trying to get other shit sorted out. All right, so let's look into your second question. And if ever you guys want a yes no to be answered or clarified by the pendulum, just let me know, okay? It's not going to take place of your reading, but it can be an extra confirmation. I don't mind doing it. All right. Rising says, okay. Oh, Rising, I meant to ask you, I don't know if I'm the only one you're reading or you get readings from, but I feel like I'm not. I feel like I've seen you a couple times on Happilies and stuff. So, just out of curiosity, do you feel like the readings you get from me are aligning as well with what other people are saying? Do you feel like it's different every day? It's not like I have any opinions whatsoever. I'm just curious for myself as a reader, like, are things aligning for you? Do you feel like in other readings, people are saying that you're getting closer to your union with this person the way that I am? I'm just curious, that's all. So does he still intend to communicate with her? Oh, we have the 10 of Pentacles. Will it be phone call? Will it be phone call? Will it be text? Will it be in person? Okay, so he's funny. So he's saying it depends on how brave I am that day when I communicate with you, but I do plan on communicating with you, so I am getting a yes on that. His preference is in-person communication. His preference is seeing you face to face and having a conversation, even if it's brief. It's a quick, like, couple sentences back and forth. He would prefer that. He would prefer in-person interaction. But he's saying, I don't know if that opportunity will arise the moment that I feel compelled to communicate with you. So then the second option, I would prefer a phone call, like not text. He would prefer a call. He would prefer to communicate with you over the phone and hear your voice. The only thing is that he might not start the conversation that way. He might start the conversation via text just to see what type of energy you're in and headspace if you're willing to communicate with him. And then he'll try to move it to the phone as quickly as he can or move it to in person as quickly as he can. But just to get his nerves out of the way and get the conversation started, he probably would text you first. But then, like, hey, would you want to talk on the phone sometime? Would you want to get together sometime? Or he might do something kind of sneaky where if the conversation seems to really be flowing, then he'll say, hey, can I call you? That kind of vibe. Does that make sense? I do feel like he still intends to communicate with you, but their preference is in person, then it's phone call, then it's text. That's kind of what I'm getting from him. I think that he likes that real time interaction, that real time engagement that you can only get via phone or in person, or maybe even FaceTime. Like there's not with texting or emailing or messaging or WhatsApp or Snap or whatever, like the person gets to it when they have time. But you have that real live, like engagement with one another when it's like in person. You can kind of banter back and forth better because you can kind of feed off of one another's energy. So like that's I think what he's more interested in. I hope that answers your question. Let me know. But I am getting a yes. He still does intend to communicate with you. I went to my Yahoo email, and I don't know if you guys like know what I'm talking about, but usually before you get to your email, there's the Yahoo News, and I just saw that trending right now. Number one is JoJo Siwa, which is wild to me. It just made me laugh. All right, next up is Priscilla. Good, good, good. Rising. I really feel, guys, that I'm tapping in well to spirit tonight. I feel like I'm connecting well because, in like readers, you will be able to relate to me. You'll understand what I mean. Is that you see a card or you feel a certain way, you get a message, and you think you're heading in one direction, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm on the right path, and then suddenly spirit comes in and is like more information, and you're like, oh wait, boop, and then you take a complete like left hand turn from where you thought you were going because this like divine messaging starts coming in. And I feel like that's happened to me with James and Rising tonight, so I do feel like I'm getting a lot of good information this evening. So if you guys donated, you left. It happens to me, I get it, but I just like it doesn't happen this often. You know how many spiders I've seen today too? I'm over it. Priscilla, I'm reading your email right now. Rising, that totally makes sense. Good, good. Thank you, Rising. I appreciate it. Remember, if you donated tonight, you're more than welcome to add on to your readings. Even if you have to get yourself back in line, I'm open to that, but only to the people who have donated before the list closed. So, Priscilla, I'm going to read your question. You're welcome, Rising. It is crazy, right? Isn't it crazy when that happens? It's wild. You're welcome. Priscilla, I'm going to read your email in my head because I assume you don't want it out loud, so give me a second while I do that. So, Priscilla, if it is okay with you, I will use your BOGO to answer those multiple questions that you asked. Um, Typically, it's one question per donation. Um, and since there's multiple questions there, usually I would have you pay extra, but because you donated for a BOGO and I pull up to 10 cards per reading, I can just kind of like apply some of those cards I would have asked and kind of shorten your other readings a little bit and just kind of adjust if that makes sense to what it is you want asked specifically. So I know I hate spiders too. Okay, so really quickly, one of the spiders in the bathroom when I was using the bathroom, and then when I was driving today in my car, it crawled across the front of my steering wheel onto my dashboard. Terrifying. I had to kill a fucking spider while I was driving. And now, like, I'm watching, lately I've been watching a lot of like HGTV renovation shows and stuff, and I keep seeing spiders on the show. And I'm like, maybe I need to look into symbolism on the spider. Maybe that's a animal guide for me. And if I finally acknowledge that, maybe they'll stop coming around. But I'm just kind of over that. And summer hasn't even started. Ew. Okay, so Priscilla, I'm shuffling for you now. So let's see. First of all, I kind of want to dig into her energy a little bit, figure out who she is, like what's going on there, just to get a better idea. So Priscilla, do you have an initial for her that you would be willing to give to me? Okay, so the one thing I'm getting right now, Elizabeth 29. Okay, the one thing that I'm getting right now pretty strongly is that she, and I don't know which one it was, but it definitely has affected her life. So a lot of times interpretations can be either or, but regardless, it's insight into who she is, regardless of which way it leans. So there's something here about clicks and being clicky. Now, she could have this mean girl energy where she was clicky in high school, never really grew out of it, and she likes who she likes and doesn't who she doesn't, and she's just a mean girl. So there's that interpretation because I have the community card, which kind of looks like a Three of Cups. And then there's also like this message of two that I want to bring up to you as well is that she could feel inferior to clicks. So there's definitely a theme of being clicky, but I don't know if it's her just being a mean girl or if she was the victim of a mean girl and she doesn't like how you all get on with each other. Now, her discomfort from you and the other ladies, it's well warranted and well deserved. But I think that as time goes on, it's getting worse and worse because your feelings of frustration with this person is getting stronger and stronger. So she does have her favorites, and her favorite is one of the worst teachers. Okay, that makes sense. So that's the issue is that, so she's the mean girl. Okay, that makes sense. Now, would it make sense to you too that things are getting worse because she feels that like what she's doing is bothering you guys and now you guys are carrying a certain energy against her? Because I do kind of feel that. So I feel like it's almost like this cycle of like she started it, she's made your life miserable. You guys have really tried to like just ignore it, not let it get to you, not let it bother to you. But things have been going on for too long, enough is enough. And now things are starting to hit that like climactic point, is kind of what it feels like. So, okay, let me see. Okay, so let's find out specifically what it is that she doesn't like about you and your coworkers. Let's see. One of the things I'm definitely feeling is that compounding frustration that's just building and building over time. And that's her fault. But I think that she's starting to feel targeted by, I don't want to say your hatred because I don't know, it might be a strong word, but by your not getting along, by your negative feelings. It's starting to feel like she's getting the weight of that because you guys are probably not being nice to her anymore because you're like, why am I gonna even be civil with someone who's not being civil with me? So you might make rude remarks or not answer something as pleasantly as you would with someone that you do like. It's like she's now starting to pick up what she's putting down. And to further answer your question, I do feel like she is getting her karma right now, but I will look further into that question that you have. they actually do our job, and I feel like she's tried to find me being honest. Yeah. Um, so I will say that's kind of something that happened to me. Completely different situation, but the template was very similar because this was a man and I was hired. I was chosen out of like 30 plus people. A lot of people on my channel probably heard this story, but long story short, I was hired. I was like handpicked out from the CEO out of like 30 to 40 people. I was told that interviewed, and he was like, "That one, I like that one." So he hired me, and he liked everything I did. He thought I was going to be great in the sales team as well, even though it's not what I wanted. He hired me on as an assistant. He promoted me within a year to become the office manager. Um, I mean, he was like, "You're so good at dispatch. I want you to do dispatch." Like, I was running a dispatch department and being an office manager, all this stuff. Well, CEO likes me up until the point this other guy gets hired. This other guy becomes the president because the CEO decides that he has too many other businesses to manage and he can't be as hands-on with his business as he wants to be. So he kind of leaves. He still comes in and does checkups every once in a while, but nobody in the office like directly anymore. And the person that he hired to kind of take his place and be his eyes and ears for the business starts talking shit about me. But the CEO fucked up because instead of coming with me directly, he just took the guy's word for it. Even though he really liked me, he didn't have enough invested in this business because he had so much going on that he just allowed this person to make the decision. And this person eventually kicked me out. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because he didn't, well, he kicked me out. He kicked me out, but he bumped me to a different department that he knew I wouldn't want. So indirectly, he knew I would probably leave, and that's it. That was his way, his little like detour into indirectly getting me to leave the company. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because sometimes shit like that is unfair, and I'm just gonna throw that out there. That sometimes it's your boss's integrity that is going to determine whether or not you get your justice in this company. Does that make sense? Like, this person could be the worst person ever and talk shit about you all day long, but if they're talking shit to their boss and their boss actually has integrity and cares, then they're going to find a way to not just believe that what the person is saying is gospel. Do you get what I mean? If they have integrity, they're going to dive deeper into the source to try to figure out what's going on and come to you directly to figure out what's going on and not just take this woman's word for it. If her boss takes her word for it and doesn't do any further discovery or research into the problem, unfortunately, that may leave you getting screwed over. You said we actually do our, oh no, I thought you were still typing. So the only reason I'm telling you this is because you can be amazing. The hiring manager could really, really like you. But if they're not willing to investigate what your boss is telling them and they're just taking their word for it, that can negatively affect you. But regardless, I want to be clear that it'll end up working out for you no matter what. Because if you're not supposed to be at this place, likely you are, you will be. I strongly believe that whatever is meant for us doesn't just get taken away or ripped away from us. So if for some reason it falls away from you, it's just not a place you were supposed to be. Believe in divine intervention. But I don't necessarily feel that for you. I feel like this is a place you're supposed to be, at least right now. Hey, Lorraine, thank you so much. I'm still working on Priscilla's, but we're kind of like halfway through, maybe a little more than halfway through. Okay. Will she get her karma? Oh no, I didn't even answer the other question. Why doesn't she like her and her coworkers? So there's like a feeling of not getting along with you. You're just not her people. I have the Hierophant here with the Five of Pentacles, and that indicates y'all just don't get along. Not everybody's supposed to get along. She prejudged you way too early before getting to know you, and she set a precedent of I'm against you kind of vibe. And now this she's reaping what she sowed because now you guys are like, I don't like you back. I feel like she just likes to be, correct me if I'm wrong, but she likes to be the center of attention. I feel like she likes being with the in crowd. She likes having people that feel special because then it makes her feel superior. If you want to be popular, all you have to do is pick people who are more weak-minded than you to be your girls, to back you up and make everyone else feel not as special as those three girls, because those three girls will follow you into the depths of hell because you made them feel special. And in doing that, in making them feel special, you made everyone else feel not special. So it's making her feel more superior. There's something here about popularity and feeling good and making her feel like it person. And it's just fucked up. It is what it is. I personally don't think that has anything to do with you guys. As a matter of fact, it makes me feel like she was threatened by you guys, and she just didn't want you all to come for her. So she the movie Mean Girls is just coming through so strongly. I'm just like laughing in my head because that's kind of the word that I used before. But remember when like Lindsay Lohan's character came in and the main girl, Rachel McAdams' character, felt very like threatened because she's like, oh, well, I'm the top dog here and I'm threatened by you and you can clearly take my place or take my position and I'm not going to let that happen. So I'm going to shut this down before we get there kind of vibe. That's what it feels like she's doing. Really? Okay, let me confirm that. Let me confirm Priscilla's theory. Is this true? Yes or no? I am getting a no with the moon. I think some people just are haters, Priscilla. I don't think there's anything in particular that happened or that you did. People just like to hate. I'm just, I don't want to say like in a way that can be taken the wrong way, but I am just glad that you have people with you and you're not being singled out yourself. That there's other people that feel this way, because then there's some camaraderie and like unity when multiple people are feeling a certain way. It's probably bringing you and these other girls or these other coworkers closer. Will she get her karma? Will she get her karma for this? Okay, I could be wrong, but I'm getting a yes. But to me, it makes me feel like it's not going to happen in front of you. Karma that's going to happen, you won't be able to witness, but you can rest easy in knowing that it is going to come to her. But I think that if something goes down, it's going to happen like when you're long gone from this job, or it's going to happen in her personal life, like in her love life or something. And I truly feel like she's not very far along on her higher self journey, if that makes sense. It almost feels like she came into this life with a lot of karma, because she's clearly not growing or learning. And so she's going to have many, many, many more lifetimes on this earth because she is just not conducting herself from a place of love. Will she leave her position? Will she leave her position? She's gonna be here for as long as they're gonna let her be there. Priscilla, so I am getting a no on that. For her current job, they better. Oh, Priscilla's current. Okay. I am getting a yes. 3 of Cups. Is it 2 other coworkers, Priscilla? Is it you and 2 other people? Oh yeah, you did say 2 of your coworkers. Yeah, I'm seeing that by you guys sticking together, you and the coworkers, by you guys sticking together and making the best of it is how you guys will be able to improve. Use your power that you guys have to bring you together in community. And she won't be able to hold the power over you anymore. I also would encourage, if you can, finding a way to build a bridge between you and the girl's boss. So you have a boss, but your boss has a boss. So if there's a way to fill that gap or build a bridge between you and the person that's in charge of her and build a better relationship there, then she's not going to be able to hold much power over you. So I know this sounds kind of, it's not meticulous, but it sounds like very, oh my God, I think it starts with an M. What is the word? Hold on, Priscilla, I'm gonna find it. Premeditated, that's the word I'm looking for. I was hearing the M and meditated. Thank you, sir. It sounds kind of calculated. It sounds kind of premeditated. It made me kind of think, but that's my suggestion. If there's, yeah, so continue to build that bond with her boss because that's going to limit the power that she has over you. It's okay. Your friend doesn't have to share the info at all, but have your friend talk you up to her. You know what I'm saying? Like, get closer to that friend. The closer you can get to these other people that feel the same way you do, the stronger your power will be and the less she'll have to hang over your head. That could also be another fear of hers is what are your intentions? Not what are your intentions, but like threatened. That's the word. Threatened. That's the word I'm looking for. She could feel threatened by you guys doing something like that. And maybe she's been just trying to make you guys feel weak, but there's power together. And my other friend is friends with someone too higher up, but she also doesn't want to say. Priscilla, these 2 friends that are friends with the higher ups, are these the same coworkers that you were telling me does not like your boss? Because for some reason I'm getting that message, or I was getting that message before I knew this information, to like continue to strengthen those bonds. So that would be my advice. I truthfully don't think that your boss is going anywhere. The message was, as long as they'll have her there, she's gonna stay. So she's not gonna leave of her own volition, of her own free will. But she has a lot of 5 of Pentacles energy around her. So to me, that feels like she has some poverty coming her way, whether that's financially, emotionally, spiritually, romantically. There's something that she's lacking or going to lack, and I do feel like that's her karma for her. So hopefully that answered your question, Priscilla. I think next time we'll have to add on, because that was kind of a lot. I think next time we'll just make sure we're making purchases based on the amount of questions we're asking, but it's okay for tonight. You said, um, my boss and like the three of us specifically, she makes our work ASAP. Crystal, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to document the incidents. Perfect. Yeah, dates, times, all of that. Because not only is that going to be able to like back you up evidentially, but it's also going to show that you're so miserable that you were taking the time out of your day to cultivate a list. So just bringing that in without even talking about it, just bringing it in and saying, I actually have a documented list here of all of the incidents that have happened, that's going to be very powerful because you're going to say, oh my God, their life was so miserable here. Their job, their career, whatever was so miserable that they actually took the time to write this shit down. And it was happening so often that they knew they'd be able to make a list out of it. That right there is going to speak volumes. And then they start digging into the details specifically. That's a great, great idea, honestly. Yeah, hopefully they will. Oh, great, Priscilla. I'm so happy to hear that. You're very welcome. At least you have a game plan, right? And you can feel a little bit better about what to do to help you set yourself up better for the future when it comes to this person. Okay, I think that sounds good. All right, so this is for Rain. Rain, you said you like tarot, right? You said you don't like using oracle cards, or are you okay with both, or I can't remember. All right, what does Lorraine need to know? You like tarot, okay. What does Lorraine need to know? Oh, and since I have some people in here who hasn't been here in a while, I wanted to let you guys know that my cousin and I, she goes by Cancerian Clairvoyant. She has a YouTube channel. She did readings back in the day. She did collaborations with a girl named Billy. They did a lot of like divine masculine, divine feminine channelings and stuff. She is a reader. She's been a reader a little longer than I have, and we plan on doing a collaboration soon, where we do fertility readings, and then we're also going to do a love reading during that live stream. So just a heads up, be on the lookout for that. I try to advertise it a little bit ahead of time. That way, everyone kind of knows that that's coming up. But I figured since there's some people in here I haven't seen in a while, I would also share with you guys. That exactly what I thought if they have my back there. Together. Yep, exactly. I think that's perfect. What does my speak mean to you? I speak. I'm getting like an emotional evolvement, emotional progress, emotional um, transcendence. Is that the right word? I just feel like there's something big going on with you, and it's hitting on a emotional level. Um, this could be like healing from something that affected you deeply. I almost feel like you're putting yourself first. That's kind of what I'm pulling. You're putting yourself first. Either you've already started this transformation or it's a message that you need to start putting yourself first. I feel like you need to put yourself above everything else and everyone else right now. There's a shift, and I'm hearing North Node, so I feel like that's basically like who you're almost coming out of that South Node energy. If you know anything about astrology, there's like that North Node, South Node vibe. And I really feel like you're in this place of like coming out of your South Node. And what's really great about a birth chart is understanding, especially with the South and North nodes, is who you are, who you're coming into this earth as, and where would be a good direction for you to grow into. And I feel like it's very interesting. I want to know what your South and North nodes are because I want to understand a little bit more detail as to where you're supposed to be heading. But the main message here is to put yourself first. Maybe you feel like you've always been putting. Yes, I speak. I'm so happy to hear that. I definitely was sensing. I was sensing you broke up. Um, but I was waiting for you to say it. I was definitely feeling that. Like, did you break up with this person? Um, but at the same time, I didn't want to jump the gun because if you were still in a relationship, I wanted to be sensitive to that. But I definitely was feeling that. And I think that's where that message of like putting yourself first comes into play here. I feel like you cut yourself off from, so I speak, they're saying you cut yourself off from the devil. I have that you literally had two swords in your hand and you chopped the head off of that devil. So that's an interesting message to get from tarot, but essentially it's like just imagine that you're a warrior and you have two swords in your hands and you're trying to defeat an enemy, and like literally take both swords and chop their head off. So that's the vibe here. Very Game of Thrones. And I'm not saying this literally, obviously this is a metaphorical explanation, but what they're saying is that not that the person that you were with was the devil, but they had a negative attachment to them. And you were getting like, for a lack of better words, like drained. You were getting your energy sucked from you. And this person, not necessarily innately a bad person, was letting their negative energies or attachments get the best of them. And unfortunately, you were friendly fire. So I feel like Spirit is saying thank you for overcoming that challenge. Thank you for putting yourself first. You will be rewarded for this. Something you need to know is that there's a love relationship that's coming out of a friendship. So you are going to, either you're currently friends with someone and that's going to develop into a romantic relationship, or that means that you're going to meet someone, become friends, and grow a relationship from that. You need something steady, you need something grounded. You need to know who a person is before you enter a relationship with them. That's a really big message for you here because I think sometimes you might kind of allow yourself to get kind of like dragged along, and then a relationship happens. You never were really happy before the relationship entered. You said we broke up, then became friends, and I just had to end it. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I don't feel like this message I'm talking about right now specifically pertains to him because it's the Ace of Cups, which means it's a new person. You said he was manipulative. Um, so What's really important for you is to understand who a person is before you get into a relationship with them. Start seeing the red flags, you gotta go. That's why they're saying that a relationship is gonna blossom from a friendship, and we can look at that very literally, that you're gonna have a friend and a relationship will bloom, or just very loosely, where it basically says you get to know the person really, really well before you enter a relationship with them. I also feel like I think it's important. There's like a double meaning here that you rely more on your friends. Get that love that you're looking for from platonic friendships right now. This could be like a right now advice, because you need girls who are gonna hype you up. Even guys, you need people who are gonna come in and say you're the shit. You know, you need to find your group, and if you feel like you've already got it, spend more time with them. Rely on them. I feel like you need a hype community, where everyone makes each other feel good, everyone makes each other feel amazing, because you deserve that. I speak. You deserve to feel so good about yourself. Like, you're so unique, you're so different, like you're so beautiful, and I feel like you were made perfectly. And I feel like you need more people around you to tell you that, and tell you that so much that you like start to get delusional about it. That's the state we want you in, is that you realize how bad these other people fuck with you, because you're so confident, because you've been hyped up so much, because you don't know negativity. That's the problem. Is I feel like the people you've been in relationships with have been essentially like making you feel worse and worse and worse and worse about yourself. And you need to rely on that friend group to build you back up. So that way you can kind of like reset yourself back to factory settings. Like, you need to be able to get that monologue, that dialogue out of your head. Like, have a appendectomy, or not an appendectomy, like a monologue ectomy, or like a dialogue ectomy taken out of your body. 86 that shit, and find someone who will come in and make you feel good. So that way, when you meet your person, your next love, you know exactly what you deserve, because you're like, if my friends can make me feel this good, then most certainly my boyfriend or my future husband should make me feel this good, because he's getting more from me than even my friends are, and they know how to hype me up. Just make yourself delusional. Find people who will literally make yourself delusional, and you got it. You got it. Um, yeah, exactly. So when I say like you have a love that's coming out of a friendship, I don't necessarily mean right now. It's more like down the line. Just keep that in mind in the back of your head. Not trying to push you into a situation, but if the message comes in, I'm not gonna also not tell you. He said, I'm thinking about going on Bumble and making girlfriends. I love that. He lowered my self-esteem and self-worth so much. I don't feel beautiful. I know. And like, that's what I'm getting at, is like, you need to know what it feels like to be platonically loved, because those are some of the biggest loves you'll ever have in your life. I speak my truth. I don't know if you've ever watched One True Kill. If you have, my advice would be to listen to the Drama Queens podcast. Those three girls were on that show together for many, many years. And they have this like strong, beautiful, platonic love for one another, and it runs deep into their bones. And to hear women empower women, and to hear how close their friendship is, it almost makes you feel like you're friends with them, and it's nice. And if you didn't watch One Tree Hill, you should probably just listen to the podcast anyways, because while you're still trying to find those friendships, this podcast really shows you like who you are, how to stand up for people, how to show up for people, how to be a good person, a good friend, um, because they demonstrate that, and they make you feel empowered when you listen to them. So I definitely feel like listening to a podcast that resonates with you, especially with female-centered hosts, I think is really important. Find one that sounds good to you. This is the one I'm thinking of, but find one for yourself while you start to build those friendships with other people. So for your second question, I speak. Let me know what you'd like to ask. I'm also sorry that you experienced that because it's not anything that anyone deserves, not anything that anyone should have to experience. I just feel like that just sounds so awful. Like, I just can't imagine. I feel like that would just slowly and slowly like dry you up, you know? You just start to wither away. And, I don't know if you've ever heard what the water theory, um, but there's a scientist that actually, because they know that our bodies are made up with like a huge percentage of water or like fluid beings, and the water theory is like a specific name for it. I'll have to find it. I'm gonna shuffle for you while I say this. But if you haven't heard of it, it's basically where a person gets two containers of water, the same exact water, no variation, no differences, nothing. And they, for like a month, he decides, for one of the containers of water, I'm just gonna speak hate into it. I'm gonna say awful, mean things to it, and I'm gonna tell it how much I hate it and how ugly it is, and how horrible it is, and how bad it is, and all this other stuff. And then the other bottle of water, I'm gonna speak loving things and say how much I love it and how beautiful it is. And so he conducted this experiment where he did this for days and days and days on end, and then decided to freeze the water. And the water froze in completely different structures. The water that had hate spoken into it had all these lines and cracks in the ice, whereas the beautifully spoken into water had like snowflake looking clusters and crystals, and it had all of these like really beautiful like elegant shapes in it, and it just looked like magical. And sometimes they'll do this too with like colored waters, see better, see what the results are, but they were completely different. Like there were these like crystalline structures in the beautifully, I'll just call it the beautiful water, like just gorgeous, like different structures that it had made because it was spoken love into it. And then the hate one, it just was like ugly, cracked. There wasn't any kind of crystalline structure. There was nothing like good about it. No, it just was like very drab, very bland. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because if we can speak love or hate into the water and it makes a difference, imagine what it's doing to us, our physical beings, our physical bodies, if we are speaking hate into it or getting hate spoken into it, because we're mostly made up of water. And so this could be you, this could be yourself, what you say to yourself, what you think to yourself. You can start forming acne, you can start gaining weight if you're speaking really badly about yourself. But if you start speaking well into yourself, beautifully into yourself, for lack of better words, I've said it like a million times tonight, you will start seeing that beauty shine through. And so this is something that you need to hear because you don't want someone else saying bad things about you, and you don't want to be saying that about yourself either. Yeah. So just think about the water and think about how do you want to create beautiful structure and crystals and be all sparkles and glitter inside, or do you want to have like cracks and bleeding and bruising and all of that? Because every time you think something like that in your head, that's what you think to yourself. So it's either going to be for better or for worse. And what's crazy too is like the conditioning that we have to do, we catch ourselves doing it. We should say, okay, I'm going to change this thought process. I'm going to change how I speak to myself and how I think about myself. And so easily we slip back into the habit, and it takes such a long time to recondition ourselves to think better about ourselves and only see beauty within ourselves. It's a journey. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Yeah. And don't speak negatively about yourself because you forgot to do it either. Like if you catch yourself, just let it go and say something nice to counteract it. What does my shadow self want to tell me? Okay, so look, that how funny is that? That all of that I just said actually resonates with your question. So shadow self wants you to know the parts that you need to work on. One of the biggest things. Oh, they're saying Eight of Wands blocks here within yourself. So you've got a lot of girl. I would recommend going to a Reiki master or uh, someone who does Reiki energy healing, because I feel like there's a lot that needs to be cleared out within you, and it's on a physical level now. So that's the problem. That's where we're at right now. I speak is that when we think things so often or so much, it starts to make us sick inside. And I feel like there's energy bodies within you, energy centers that are now being affected physically and energetically. So it's kind of like the structure of a house where if there's a little bit of wood rot, we can replace those floors and we can fix it. But if we don't address the problem, it's kind of like split ends. If we don't address the problem, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And eventually it's going to affect the health of the house or the health of your hair, so on and so forth as a metaphor. I feel like you have been at a point for so long, or this is going on for so long, that it's now affecting you on a physical level and an energetic level. So I think that what we need to do is get our mind right. I think you can get your energy right. You can even do like sound baths if you do that, or if you don't do it as much as you want to, you should do it more. Frequency healing is also a thing. Do something that's going to help fix your energy. Do not let yourself get to the point where you're starting to have health issues. Okay, we don't understand how much our thoughts can affect our physical body. So one of the things to work on, and it all starts with your head. It all starts with your mental. If our mental is not good, everything else is going to fall apart around us, and it's going to start to extend in our physical world. So it's very important that you kind of go back to basics here. And another way to really help is the people that you surround yourself with, the music you're listening to, the content that you're absorbing. I find that it makes me feel really good about myself when I'm watching content that shows how to take care of myself. So if I'm feeling really like depressed, or if I feel like my mind is just not right, I'll watch things that make me feel really good, or make me feel like warm inside. Wholesome content is really nice. Or if I feel like I'm stuck and I really need to get myself out of a funk, I'll watch self-care videos. Get inspired by what you're absorbing mentally, emotionally, physically, all that stuff. Pay attention to the foods you're eating. If you're feeling dead inside, eat something that's alive. Fruits, vegetables. You know what I'm saying? Something from the ground if you need to feel grounded. Root vegetables. If you feel like you space, maybe you're noticing that your house is getting cluttered, then help your mentality by doing something to kind of declutter. All this stuff, we are beings, and our mental space extends to our physical side. So that's really important. And the other thing that they want me to tell you is, hold on, the message isn't full yet. I'm trying to understand it. 1 second. So there's one thing. Okay. The second thing hasn't fully come through yet. I don't know if it will. Maybe that's something you'll find in time, or maybe I'll have to tell you another time. But the main thing is that they're saying triggers. When it comes to your shadow self, figure out what you're triggered by. Definitely book a Reiki session for sure. I can't speak to I can't speak. I can't speak to his work because I haven't had a session with him yet. But James, who was actually in here earlier, he was my first reader of the night. He's a Reiki master. So I can always refer to him if you would like his information. But yeah, so when it comes to your shadow self, they're saying pay attention to what triggers you, I speak, because that's going to explain to you an unhealed part of yourself. So once you don't feel triggered anymore, then you know that you're pretty much healed. So if things are bothering you, if someone says something that bothers you, look further into that. And it can be the dumbest thing ever. It can be literally when someone, like for example, a trigger of mine in the past was when someone was eating close to me and they were smacking their lips. And ooh, yeah, of course. Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, give me her information too, because I can just start stacking up referrals. So send me her info. Um, it's like the weirdest trigger. I get triggered before, like the smell of peanut butter or someone like eating peanut butter and jelly around me, or like smacking their lips eating a sandwich. And I'm like, why is this bothering me so much? This sounds so stupid. Why is this bothering me? And I had to do a deep dive into my psyche to understand why does that bother me. And I realized that it reminds me of my father, who I am estranged with. And I never really felt like he gave me the privacy to be who I am or I was as I was discovering myself as a teenager and like having conversations with people. He never took the time to really get to know me. I just felt like he just wanted to spy on me all of the time. So instead of like saying, "Hey, tell me about your friends," like, what are they like? What are their names? What do you guys do together? He would just hover over me, eating a fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich while I'm on the computer instant messaging my friends, having conversations with them, which to me felt private. It wasn't like I was doing anything bad or inappropriate. I just was being a girl and having a conversation with my friends, maybe about like a crush that I have or a fight I got with my boyfriend that day or whatever. And I just felt it was so intrusive, right? So intrusive. And so whenever I hear someone eating peanut butter and jelly or they're smacking their lips, don't get me wrong, I love peanut butter and jelly, but it's something about like the sound of it, the smell of it. I hate the smell of peanut butter, and I had to do a deep dive, like, why the fuck does this bother me? And I realized when I hear that sound or smell that smell, I feel like I'm being intruded on. I feel like I don't have privacy. I feel like someone's interfering like with my personal space or boundaries. And even though those two things don't make sense together, for my childhood, it does. And as soon as I went, oh my God, that's what that is. Now peanut butter doesn't bother me anymore. So, and the snacking of it and people eating those sandwiches around me, it doesn't bother me because I was able to put a face to it to understand why is this triggering me. And now that I realize why, now it's not happening to me. So I feel like that's like the last message here is that it could be something as stupid as a freaking sandwich. It could be anything. Figure out what's triggering you. If someone calls you a specific name, like maybe there's a specific name that really bothers you. Maybe someone can call you, um, I'm trying to think. Like it just depends on like what it means to you. Someone can call you um, beautiful and gorgeous and attractive and like all these things. They can have sweet nicknames for you, like, oh my queen, oh my hun, oh my babe. And then if someone calls you princess, you're like, the fuck not. Because someone in your life, an ex-boyfriend called you that. And you're like, no. And you're triggered by that, right? Everyone has their own preferences, but once you can put a name to something that's triggering you, then you can go, okay, this is what is bothering me. And it doesn't get to you as much. It doesn't bother you as much because you have something to put a face to it on. So essentially, just to round out your reading, um, SB, you can post if you want. Just pay attention to if something is triggering you, acknowledge it in that moment, and then later try to figure out where that's coming from and why it's happening to you. And then it won't bother you as much. I feel triggered with people talking to me while cursing. Do you mean like when they're cursing at you or if they just say cuss words around you? So, what I'm going to say I speak is that figure out where that stems from, get to the root of it, because I guarantee once you can figure it out, it won't bother you as bad. But at the same time, just because you understand where it comes from doesn't mean it's going to be something that's automatically going to make you comfortable. Like, especially if you have a outbalance or imbalanced nervous system. That's one of the main things that really gets to me is that I understand my triggers sometimes, but it's my body can't catch up with my head. So my head can make it understandable and logical, but my body is still trying to process the trauma. So it's just important to figure out what is bothering you. But the last thing I'll leave you with is understanding and giving yourself grace if you still have issues with it, even when you've been able to identify the source. But the main thing as I speak is boundaries has to do with what you are doing. Okay, that's the one thing that, and you might know this, but the one thing that you can't control is what someone else is doing. You can have a boundary, but the boundary says I will or I will not. But you can't control your, so some people will say I have boundaries, so you need to blah 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 blah. But that's not what boundary is. Boundary is you and you alone. So you can't say my boundary is don't curse around me because that's trying to control someone else. Your boundary is I don't like when people curse around me. So if you're not going to change, I'm going to remove myself from the situation. That's setting a boundary. It's boundaries are when you're not trying to change anyone else. It's when you're saying, what am I comfortable with? What am I willing to expose myself with? Am I going to continue to am I going to continue to expose myself to this or am I going to remove myself from the equation? But a lot of time narcissists will say like, oh, my boundary is this, this, and this. So you can't do that anymore. It's like, no, that's not a boundary. A boundary has to do with how you feel inside and what you're willing to accept. You can't use that as an excuse to try to change someone else. So if you don't like when someone cusses and you find that they're doing it a lot, then remove yourself from that situation. You can let them know that cussing bothers me, and if they love you, care about you enough, they'll try to limit it around you. But yeah, it's like, it's just unfortunate. And those things you're going to have to kind of like navigate yourself through that process. For example, SB, shuffling for you now. For example, my manager told me the other day to go put your shit away, and I had to set boundaries. That's how she is. That's her personality. People can't curse at me, right? I want to be treated with respect, but when people curse around me, it does trip at me. Yeah. So, like, in order to put your manager in her place, if she starts cussing, just walk away. Don't say anything. Just walk away. And she's probably going to come after you and be like, why aren't you listening to me? Why are you walking away in the middle of me talking to me? Because you're cussing at me. You're not respecting me. You're not treating me with respect. And I'm not going to tolerate it. So unless and until you're able to stop cursing at me, I'm not going to continue to subject myself to this situation. And eventually she'll catch on. Eventually she'll realize that if she wants you to listen to what she has to say, she won't cuss at you. It's not professional, it's not okay, and it's not even something you should even be having to have a conversation about. But that's what I would say to do in those situations. Just walk away. She'll eventually figure it out. She'll either stop thank you, I speak. She'll either stop cussing at you or you'll never hear what she wants to tell you. I mean, this is her choice. This is her decision. And I think that if it gets out of hand, or maybe it's already gotten to that point, you need to go above her. Aw, I love that. I'm so happy for that. All right, so Sarah, I have you down for. What do I have you down for? Oh, a BOGO. Okay, a BOGO. Got you. And then I think something else. I'm going to take your advice and I need to learn to protect you. Yeah. Absolutely. It's all about what you're gonna subject yourself, be willing to subject yourself to or not. please check in with me, Lorraine. Let me know how you're doing. You can even message me on Instagram if you want. You're welcome, I speak. Have a good night. Isaac's feelings for us. Isaac's feelings for us. SB, thank you so much for your patience. I love when the floodgates open of divine wisdom, but I end up talking a lot longer than I probably should talk. So I appreciate your patience with me tonight. Alright, Isaac's feelings for us. Isaac's feelings for us. It seems like he's happy with his choice. So I have here the Three of Wands, and it's saying that he's feeling success, confidence in your relationship with your connection. He's excited to see what's going to come for you guys. He feels like he made a good choice by investing in you and your connection. He feels like he's liking these experiences that he's getting to have with you. He wants to explore it further. And I feel like he's saying, like, finally, it's time for me. You know, like, finally, I'm getting to experience what others experience. Kind of like it's my turn. That's what it feels like to me. I feel like he feels inspired. He feels empowered. We have the Magician here, so it talks about maybe like manifestations coming through for him. He like has a lot of desires for where this can go, and I think he's just really trying to put all of his like positivity into that direction. I feel like he's liking this. He's enjoying this communication that you guys are having. I have Ace of Swords, meaning that he continues to communicate with you. He continues to build on this from here. Ace of Swords a lot of times too can speak to being a very honest person, wanting to make sure that you understand where you stand to him. He wants to make it clear. He wants you, he's like, Ace of Swords talks about clarity, so he wants you to know where you stand and what you mean to him. He doesn't want you to feel confused. We aren't exclusive yet, so he informed me he's talking to another, but opened up his feelings to me today. He said he had some confusions. Oh, I see. Yeah, you're here with the Six of Cups, saying that he feels like a comfort with you, and he feels like you're home to him. So informing you that he's talking to someone else is just his way of being upfront with you. I think that maybe before he felt like, oh, we're just talking, and you know, I'm sure she's talking to other people and I'm talking to other people. It's usually what happens, you know. But I feel like now, as this feelings has developed, he feels like you're owed that explanation. So don't let it confuse you, please. I hope you don't. Because he feels like he's hit to the point with you where his feelings are developing and maybe thinking that yours are too. And now he's saying, well, now she's in the position to deserve to know. So to me, it feels like he's really considering you by being upfront with you and telling you that he's talking to someone else. Now, I'm sure for you, if you're not talking to anyone else, this can feel upsetting because now you might feel like you're in competition with someone else. But I hope that when he made his feelings clear to you, it's showing that he does have deep feelings. And it makes you feel better about where you stand to him. Now, I think what would be next and what would be important to know is, does he intend on getting to know her more? Or is he planning on cutting off this other connection because he feels stronger with you? That's something I would want to know. but I feel like he's being truthful, and I feel like it's important to him that he's putting everything out there on the table, and he isn't trying to like lead you on or make you feel like you're the only one he's talking to, even though you're not. So I think that's a conversation you need to have with him. But he's saying you feel at home, like you feel like home to me. You feel like such a comfort and such a soft place to land. And I feel like as his feelings grow, he is feeling more and more inclined to communicate with you. Something tells me that he might, well, I don't know. 'Cause I'm like, maybe he only told you. I wonder if he's told this other girl about you, just like he told you about her. How does he feel for SB? How does he feel for SB? He feels like you balance him. You know, SB, I feel like he can tell you might have your guard up a little bit. Because I have the Queen of Swords here. And so you might have pulled back a little bit after he gave you this insight. But I see him here wanting, feeling like you're a potential soulmate to him. Feeling like you are, like things can really go the distance with you. And so I do feel like he's leaning in your direction. So can I ask, Esme, what did you say to him when he told you this? Is your profile picture like flowers? What am I looking at? Oh, that's so pretty. Oh, right. Yeah, it's kind of like a tricky thing, right, SB? Because you're thinking, when is it too soon to say I'm talking to someone else, right? Because you're like, I don't want to come off. Like, let's just say you were talking to someone else, SB. It's like, how soon do you say, are you talking to anyone else? Just out of curiosity. Because, like, it should be assumed, right? Shouldn't it be? If you're not exclusive, it should be assumed that you're talking to other people. But when you're hitting it off so well and things are going well and you're really investing in one another, you can start to feel like maybe I am the only person he's talking to. But at what point, it's tricky because it's like, at what point is it too soon to talk about that subject? And at what point is it, now I've got feelings invested and it's going to really upset me to hear this information? It's such like a fine line. It's so tricky. And neither of you guys are doing anything wrong. You're just exploring the connection. It's what dating is all about. It's what you should be doing. It's very old school to do it this way. You know, you don't go steady right away. Date around and figure out what your flavor is. So that's another thing. I mean, if it doesn't feel natural to you to talk to someone else, don't do it. Don't talk to anyone else. If you're thinking to yourself, maybe I should be exploring other options, then do that. But don't do it because he's doing it. That's not going to feel natural to you. It's a great era, yeah. I just know he told me he's seen her this well. I feel like I'm on The Bachelor. No, you did not. Oh my god. Yeah, it's tough, but that's the point of dating, SB. So if you can think of it that way, that is the point of dating, except you're not getting paid. Oh, I didn't know they got paid. Um, it's only fair, it's only right. If you were in his position and there were two people that were piquing your interest, maybe you're leaning towards Isaac, but you kind of want to see how this other thing plays out and give it a little more time before making a decision. That's within your right to do that. So that's what's tough. That makes it tough. I really felt like I really felt like he had blinders on for just to even be alone. I didn't realize there would have been someone else that is blindsiding me a little bit. But again, um, I typically try to just pick up on the positive energy and spin it. And if it comes through, it comes through. But if it doesn't, I can't pull out some whole history. I'm sure it's somewhere. Um, I'm sure it's somewhere in the ether. What they call it, Akashic Records. I'm sure if I get access to that, I could give you every single detail you ever want to know about someone. But usually, the way that it works with psychic readings is just what you get. Because if we were supposed to know everything, we wouldn't have to go to someone else for that insight. So, um, but yeah, I wasn't feeling any third party energy, I don't think. So take comfort in that. That if that wasn't highlighted in the reading, then it probably does mean that he is definitely more invested in you emotionally, because he's showing me that he is. And if that's the strength, the strong theme of the reading, then that means that that's what the truth is. If this other person were coming in as a contender, I feel like it would have come up. So maybe he's just trying to let it play out. I'm kind of leaning towards slash hoping that when he sees her, he's there to break it off. Like I honestly feel like this date, and I'm gonna go into your question, but I feel like this date is more like a make it or break it type of situation. I feel like he knows what he feels for you, and he's going into this date with her to basically be like, is it the same as SB? Is it better? Is it worse? I feel like he's going to try to make a decision um, with her this week. I feel like he just doesn't want to keep dragging it along on both sides. Wait, he made it clear that he has feelings for this other girl or for you? Yeah, that's what I thought. But then when you said that he made it clear he has feelings, and I was talking about her, I was a little worried. You said you felt jealous. Okay, good. That's what I want to hear. So yeah, I think the decision has not been made. I'll see which way he's leaning with this reading, but I also want to let you know that a decision has not been made. I do think he's going into this next interaction to basically figure out for himself which way I want to go. He doesn't seem like a what do you call modern day men. I'm a millennial, so we call him players, but he doesn't seem like a player. He seems like a very straightforward, honest individual, and I feel like he probably doesn't like this place that he has found himself in either. Um, so I think that this week is very pivotal in his decision making to decide whether or not he's going to continue exploring this other relationship. I love that, SB. I think that's great. Another thing I want to remind you is that what's meant for you will not pass you by. Okay. So, yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I was picking up on that. I was like, I don't think he likes the position that he's in right now. Most men would be like, oh, I'm in heaven. Like, multiple girls want to be with me. But I feel like for him, and then also, SB, another message that Spirit just reminded me of is like, don't forget that this other girl could be talking to other guys too. Thank you, Spirit, for that information. I think this other girl is also talking to other men. So don't sit here and be like, oh, he's choosing between the two of us. Like this other girl, this he might be like on her like back burner. You know what I mean? Like just keep that in mind also, that this isn't like a will he choose you or her? For all we know, she's about to break up with him. Like that's kind of a divine message coming in as like a reminder to keep your chin up just for a little while. Um, because like he could be her number two. You know what I mean? So just remember that like just remember that what's meant for you will not pass you by. I swear to God about this. I swear to everything that I believe in. If he is meant for you, he's not going anywhere. Okay? He's not going anywhere. Put the trust and the faith in that shit, because my husband, I'm gonna tell you right now, he had many opportunities to run away. He had many opportunities to walk away from this relationship, as did I, and we always found each other. We always made our relationship, we never felt like it was like gonna be over. Like we never, it was like we were always choosing each other all the time. And when you are invested in a relationship with someone that's meant for you, that's what's gonna happen. Yeah, of course, SB. I feel like you needed a little tea there. I feel like you needed to know that. So just don't focus on his decision. Focus on, if he's meant for me, he's not going anywhere. He's already mine. Okay? That's what you need to focus on. And maybe just not invest further feelings into this person, but don't write him off either. But I'm like, you need some tea. You need a little bit, because sometimes we forget, like, we also have the power. Maybe this other girl's like, he's not for me. I'm gonna break up with him this weekend. When we hang out, I'm gonna call it off kind of vibe. So you just never know what's going on with someone else, and it can feel like very like this depressing anticipation, but it's not. Okay. So I do have the first card out, the Three of Pentacles. So I feel like it's going to end with this other person. Like I said, I don't think that his decision has been made. Maybe it's hers. I don't know. Or maybe they're going to walk away from this being like, it's just not for me. But I feel like this connection ends with friendship. I don't think this is I think it's like, it was nice meeting you. It was nice getting to know you. If I see you around town, I'll say hi. But let's just leave it at that. It doesn't have to be this big thing. You're right. I halted developing further feelings. Yeah, and I think that's great. SB, protect yourself, you know? But don't write him off yet. Okay? Don't write him off. Because he has made his intentions clear. He has been upfront and honest with you. He's been very clear about where he stands, where you stand, what you mean to him, and it can feel scary. But he hasn't done anything wrong. That's another thing. Write these mantras down. What's meant for me will not pass me by. He hasn't done anything wrong. And then there was like a third one. Oh yeah, he may just be an option to her. So keep those things in mind as well. If you're starting to feel yourself fill with that doubt and that like, oh, I don't like this feeling, remind yourself of those things over and over and over again. But I do feel like this is a let's just be friends type of connection. This is going to end the other connection. Actually, I think I like to ask this because I've already pulled a lot of cards on this. I think I want confirmation with the pendulum. Hold on. I have pendulum. Okay. Let's get a clear answer, Spirit. Is this connection? I'm not going to ask, is he going to end it or is she going to end it? Because I don't think it's really necessary to know. You'll find that out eventually. So I'm just going to ask, is their romantic connection going to come to an end? Just a clear yes or no. Is the connection between Isaac and this other person he's seeing going to end? Is this connection going to come to an end? Immediate no, SB. I'm going to let it keep going. Hold on. Oh, wait. Sorry. I meant to say it is going to come to an end. I'm sorry if that was confusing. Wow. I forgot how I worded the question. It is going to come to an end is what they're saying. It is going to come to an end. In my mind, I was thinking, is there going to be like a romantic connection between them? That was for some reason in my head. Are they going to further their romantic connection? Okay. One second. Okay, yeah. So I just got a confirmation. This connection between them is going to come to an end. And then I also asked the reverse. I said, so instead of is the connection going to come to an end, I asked, are they going to further the connection? And I got a no. So I just wanted to confirm both sides. Like, will they continue? And then yes, no for will they not continue kind of vibe. And I'm getting like consistent, that's the word. I'm getting consistent answers. So I do feel like this situation is going to be broken off. Not only am I getting that with a pendulum, but with the cards, remember the first card in the reading was friendship. The first card in the reading was like Three of Pentacles, collaboration, teamwork, friendship, acquaintance, whatever. Like it just didn't feel like there was a very significant relationship between them. And for some reason, I'm hearing the word circumstantial. Circumstantial. I don't know why I'm getting that word. Okay, so like circumstantial talks about like something being incidental or something being depending on the circumstances. So I feel like there's some situation between them that just doesn't feel compatible. It feels like it's like a I can take it or leave it kind of vibe. You know, when something is circumstantial, it just means like it depends on the condition, it depends on the situation. We'll play that by ear. Um, that kind of vibe is like a take it or leave it. Do you get what I mean? So to me, it feels like they're saying like there's not enough here right now to really feel like it's we need to explore this, or to really know what's going on. And I think that because he feels stronger for you, it's not worth it to him to continue this relationship with her. Because sometimes when you start having feelings for someone else, it's like, well, I've already found what I'm looking for. Why am I going to continue with this other thing? It doesn't make sense. So I think that you have every right and every sign from him, from spirit, and probably from your own intuition that you can have hope in this connection. It's okay to do so. He said it's strong between you guys. Good. All right. How will things go between me and I for the next month? It was validating to hear it from him. I'm sure that feels so good. I'm sure it feels so good to be like, I know what's going on with me, but thank you for sharing how you're feeling about it. I'm telling you, felt like a bachelor episode. Oh my god. You're like, where are the cameras? How will things go from him and SB over the next month? Alright, so I do see you guys are in like a rocky place due to the truth. The first card out is the Ten of Pentacles, and I just cut the deck and saw the Ace of Cups. So I think you guys are definitely going to get through this, and I don't think that you should really stress about this too much at all. I feel like he's the first person that I have done a reading for where I felt really good about right off the bat, and you never really told me anything about him. You know what I mean? And it was just like a reading based on intuition, and then you slowly give me more and more details about him. But I got like a good feeling right off the bat. Oh, when did I go out? Did I cut in and out somehow? Hold on. Let me check. This is so crazy. I don't know why I'm so muffled. Because I just heard the playback and I feel like I heard what you were hearing. That's so crazy. You can hear me okay now? Okay. Has it just been like that recently, or has it been like that all night long? Because I use my MacBook microphone and I'm a little bit worried that there's an issue now with it. Okay. So, what I was saying is that I feel like you guys have kind of hit a bit of a rough spot because of this insight or this new information. But I feel like the hard part's over and I feel like you guys will be okay. I was saying that the first card out was the Ten of Pentacles, and when I cut the deck, it was also the Ace of Cups. So this was making me feel like things are going to get stronger for you guys. And I was saying that this is the first person I've done a reading for you in a long time where I felt like it was all green flags right off the bat. So, and that was even with you not telling me anything about him. You were just like, give me what you got. Like, and then eventually SBU would like fill me in with details here and there. But I was getting a really good feeling for him right at the beginning. And so far, I still have that good feeling. Like, even you telling me that there's like another situation, I'm not like, oh no, and worried for you or anything. I just feel like it's okay. I also feel like sometimes our intuition tries to tell us things, but we just let the fear overcome and overtake us. So, if you start getting feelings in your chest, that's anxiety and fear. If you start getting worry or like your stomach feels like it's dropping, that's your gut. So it's important too when you're having these feelings of doubt that you pay attention to where in your body you're feeling it. And you said, yeah, right, you too. You have a good feeling. So with the Ten of Pentacles, to me, that feels very grounded energy. Ace of Cups feels like the feelings are going to continue to develop for one another. Ten of Cups also talks about wanting someone to be in your life for a very long time. So I don't feel like this month you are going to feel like the relationship is over. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of positivity moving forward, is that this next month you're not feeling like, okay, now I need to start over. Now I need to look for another option. Um so again, no decisions have been made, but it feels really good, which makes me feel like he's leaning towards you and wanting to maybe invest more time in you, and maybe even you alone without this other person. Um, it's difficult in the dating stage too, because you get to a point where maybe you're not ready to enter a relationship with someone, but you don't necessarily want them to be dating other people. So it's like this pre-exclusive commitment where you're like, it's just us hanging out. Maybe we want to get to know each other more before we really take a deep dive into this. But sometimes people just want to get into a relationship right away, and there's nothing wrong with it either way. But I do know those feelings of territorial, like, oh no, he's mine, I found him first kind of vibe. And the thing is that another thing to consider outside of his feelings for you, outside of this other girl possibly dating other people, is the fact that he can lose you too, SB. So there's all these factors that are leading it back to you guys being together. There's all these variables. Either he's going to end up with you because he doesn't have as strong of feelings for this other girl. He's going to end up with you because this other girl wants to be with someone else, and he's like, okay, that works for me because I wasn't even feeling this in the first place. Or he's going to end up with you because he's worried someone else is going to snatch you up and he wants you to himself. There's so many things indicating that, like, you don't have anything to worry about. And could it go the other way? It could. But I think there's just so much stacking up on your side that I don't want you to sit here and stress yourself out and go round and round in your head about it. Um, I think that as long as you feel good, as long as your gut is giving you good feelings and he's a green flag and your readings are coming out great and all of that, I just don't want you to worry too much. But you guys can always come to an agreement too. When you talk further, you can always say, hey, like, I don't know if I'm ready to be in a relationship just yet, but since you've cut off that other thing that you were doing with that other person, would you be okay doing some type of like pre-exclusive commitment with me where we're not in a relationship yet, but we're not seeing other people? And that if you have the desire to talk to someone else, you tell me first, kind of thing. Because that's going to make you feel more safe in the relationship if he agrees to something like that. And it doesn't mean that you guys are off limits completely. It just means that when you do, and if you do start talking to someone else, you tell each other about it first, just out of respect. But I feel like once you guys hit that point where you're willing to be quote unquote pre-exclusive, you're probably nearing that stage of commitment anyway. So it's not a hard yes to say to someone, especially if there are feelings there. But yeah, so feelings are continuing to develop with the Ace of Cups. We also have the Ace of Swords, so continued communication, and the Ten of Pentacles, indicating that there's still a lot of fantasizing about a future together and not feeling like anything is coming to an end in this next month. So I hope that brings you some type of clarity, that you can probably bet on the fact that you're going to be dating this person and talking to them moving forward, at least for the next month. But my hope and my feelings is that it's going to be much longer than that. Right, same. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it. Um, I think I answered all your questions, right? There wasn't anything else I needed to do. Just try to remember the good parts of this reading. Whenever you're getting doubt, listen to this reading again. I think staying very positive about something like this and showing grace to him in this circumstance is only going to radiate such good thoughts of you in his mind, because he's going to say, damn, she's so confident. She's not even sweating. You can sweat, just don't show it. I feel like he's going to say, she handled this with such grace and composure, and she didn't freak out, and she's letting me tie up these loose ends without feeling threatened, and she's just so confident. And that's just making me even more drawn to her. Don't give him a reason to wonder about you in a bad way, you know. 10 of Pentacles. Did I say 10 of Cups? It was 10 of Pentacles. Turning down the music a little bit. Yeah, it was 10 of Pentacles was the first card out that I was talking about. I see 10 of, I don't think I've seen 10 of Cups in your readings tonight. But I definitely saw the 10 of Pentacles, Ace of Cups multiple times, Ace of Swords multiple times. I saw Justice with the 7 of Wands and the 5 of Wands, which indicates to me that the truth caused inner conflict, but it's something that you will get over. That's all I can think of from that reading right now. But does that answer your question? Yeah, of course, of course. I just don't want you to sit here and like think about it all night and let it ruin your week. And, you know, honestly, SB, my advice before I leave would just be to communicate with him the way that you always have. You can put a stop to your feelings, as far as like wanting to invest further into like the fantasy of a future together right now, but you can definitely still be the same person. Don't necessarily show him that you're pulling away. You can make that agreement to yourself, but what you're demonstrating to him, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change who you are. I wouldn't change what you're giving to the connection as far as communication goes, because I think that it really matters how you handle yourself with this. That's going to show him what an amazing person you are. It's important. Men need to see that we're confident alone, that we don't need them, but we want them. I think that's a big, big message. He said, thank you. It does. Awesome. Oh, you're so sweet and such a good person. Thank you, SB. Oh, that's so sweet. I don't hear that very often. I don't hear it very often. I mean, it's not the first time I've heard it, but it's not something that I hear all the time. So that means a lot. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, girl. I should be back Wednesday. Privates will probably be open, but if you need anything, let me know. Follow me on Instagram if you want. I always leave my messages open to all my subs. And I hope you have a good rest of your night. I can tell you put a lot of heart in your responses. Oh, thank you, SB. That's what I feel my purpose is. I wish I wish that went to school to be a counselor. I always feel like I'd be really good being like a therapist. Um, I have like a projector, like visionary type of personality, and I think sometimes I can see solutions that might be hard for other people to find, especially when they're so close to something. And so I think it just is a very rewarding line of work. And because I never went to school for it, and I typically speak from the heart, it's a good place for me to be in, to be a reader for people. And I can't take all the credit either. I know that I get divine wisdom and inspiration as well, but I really, really appreciate you saying that. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much, SB. I hope you have a great rest of your night and next couple of days until I see you guys again. Have a good night.